maximising occupancy, and that's me if you want to contact me later. And what I want to leave you with, really, I'm going to start with what I want to leave you with is that value is the key to maximising occupancy. Not necessarily value to you, but value to your guest. And continued growth and long-term easy survival, that is without all the hard slog, depends on you developing a value monopoly. And a value monopoly is a value that no one else, no other hotel in your area can own. You're the only one. And the only way you can build a value monopoly is to link the value that you provide to your guests with rational and emotional benefits. Quite often we think only about the rational side of things, the size of the bed, the sorts of linen, the crockery and what have you. But really when it comes to it, if you think about your own experience travelling, it's the memories and it's the emotion you feel, the loneliness if you're in the room by yourself, or the fun if you're not. But the thing is that value is not price. Value is much more than price. Now I'm going to put up an equation now, those of you who are mathematics phobics, just hold your breath because I've done it for 3 years and it's not very complicated. But that is the equation. We've done this in cars, we've done it in movies, we've done it in frozen foods, we've done it in all sorts of things, houses and also hotels. Let me go through the equation with you. The PV stands for perceived value, not real value, but perceived value. PQ stands for perceived quality, where it's the perception of the guest and not you. And that can go for things like a good feeling guaranteed convenient pricing. It feels comfortable. Eco credentials. It's well maintained. Easy to use website, so on and so forth. Then there's a multiplication sign. That Alexi thing is a multiplication sign, and that's followed by ego boost. Or bragging rights, depending on who you are and which hotel you're staying at. And those things like pride and dignity and feeling good and delight. Now you might think that's a bit wanky, but let me tell you, just talk to your corporate guests. Talk to the road warrior, middle manager who gets stuck in the 3-star hotel, but his partner, his competitor at work gets a 3.5-star hotel. Who gets the bragging rights? Who slashes whose tyres? Who gets a little shit in the pub? So these things, bragging rights, ego boosts, apply not just for honeymoon couples, but also for corporate visitors. And then finally you have the price. And that includes not just the price, but the things you get in the price, the inclusions, whether there's a discount, whether there's a volume discount, and so on and so forth. Now the problem with this equation is that if you remember your high school algebra, you're pretty quick at this, you go, bingo, if I halve the price, I double the value, and I'm away. And that's what all retailers, and I suspect a lot of hotel people do. That's what happens when you've got 20% of your rooms left. Let's cut the price, and up will go the value, and we'll get better bookings. The problem is, of course, you cut the price, you cut your margin, you cut your profit. And what you want to be doing is focusing on the PQ and the EB, the perceived quality and the bragging rights or the ego boost. Because if you, again, back to algebra, if you improve either of those by 10%, through TripAdvisor, through the reviews in Booking.com, through whatever means, you get a 21% increase in value at constant margins and therefore a better bottom line. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about that value equation. And I want to lock that value in 3 ways. First is, let's look at how you can build perceived quality. Then let's look at generating ego boost or bragging rights. And by the way, I love you taking notes. If you want this, just give me your card. I can send you the presentation. And then thirdly, because those examples will come not from the hotel industry, then I'll do a little section on how it works in hotels. So let's look firstly at perceived quality. Now, consumers are changing really quickly. You've seen a lot about the internet and what happens with social marketing. This is the way it used to be on the left-hand side. I'm using phones as an example. In the 80s, 1980s, the consumer focus was, what am I going to get? I'm going to get a phone, I want to get a phone, I want to get a mobile phone, it's going to be great. What is it? What is it going to do? What brand is it going to do? And what features and price does it have? What does it cost? What does it have? So if you got a calculator with it, you thought that was pretty schmick. To have a calculator in your phone, that was very, very exciting. And then things progress a little bit. And what happens is you say, well, what do I actually need? What do I want? What would be cool for me to have? And what does the brand deliver? And then you get the, what do you call those things? It's gone completely blank. The BlackBerry. because you can send emails, and that was pretty cool. It was a middle management thing, and so some of the senior managers didn't like it so much, but you know, it was cool. But that's really what I need. I need to be in touch all the time. And what happens now, as mobile phones have become ubiquitous, and hotels and holidays have become ubiquitous for people in Australia and New Zealand, what we have now is, what do I want? And what does the brand do? What does it contribute to me as a person? And what experience does it provide? So when you have a smartphone, you're not using it for making phone calls. That's kind of incidental. I'm in the middle of doing this presentation, my bloody phone's ringing, and I've got my smartwatch, and it's telling me one of my clients wants to know what's gone wrong. So it's distracting, but it's giving me experience. It's not a positive one. But that's really what's going on now in today's world. People want to know what the experience is going to be. Well, what do you guys sell? So a cursory look around the web and some brochures, and this is what you guys put out. Look at the bottom right-hand one, which is pretty typical. You're selling hotel rooms, and guess what? They have beds. And there's a shower there. See a little shower symbol? Because you guys have showers. And there's an air conditioner, because you know what? Sometimes it gets cold, sometimes it gets hot. By the way, a number of hotels, this one included, the air conditioner range goes from like 17 or 20 to 21 degrees. So if you want to be colder, you're out of luck. But nonetheless, there's air conditioning. So what typically is sold in hotels is stuff. But these features are really points of parity. You put a better bed in, it's just a better bed, but it's still a bed. And those things are really important, because if you don't have a bed, you don't have a hotel room. Mostly in Japan, you don't want to be sleeping on the floor. But they're only table stakes. It just gets you in the game. Having a nice bed, having a nice shower gets you in the game. It's not a winning bid. You are not going to win the market. You can't convert people by having all these, even if you have free Wi-Fi. It's a joke, we'll come back to that. So what happens with the second problem with these parity is it becomes a bit of a vicious circle. If all you do is have features, offers and a price, then what happens is there's a benchmark market difference. And then you identify a promotional opportunity. You know what, we'll put 3 pillows in. We'll put chocolates on the pillows. We'll have spa bath, like feature things in the bedroom, that we call the bathroom. Then you promote that, you execute, you put it everywhere, and everyone grabs it. And, you know, the customers like it. Well, yeah, how good is that? A bubble bath. Well, it's a bathtub, I've got some bubble bath. But then what happens is your competitors go, they've got bubble bath, we better get bubble bath, so they put in bubble bath. And then it's all the same, it's all parity again. Because everyone's got bubble bath, everyone's got chocolates on the pillow, everyone used to have chocolates on the pillows and pillow menus. And it goes round and round and round in circles. So what you need to do is break that vicious circle. What you've got to do is solve the guests' or procurement's real problems. And solving the problems, you can only do that by unlocking the human truth of what your guest or your procurement manager really is looking for. Here are some examples from other industries. If you just do a survey of your guests, you ask them things. This is the kind of stuff I come back to. C-store stands for convenience stores. And if you ask people, I say, look, it's convenient confection. That is, I can buy a chocolate really easily, or smokes, and I can get basic snacks. If you ask people about wine shopping, they'll tell you it's a lot of fun. They love going to a wine shop, looking at all the labels, and imagining they were in France, imagining they were in New Zealand, and in Tasmania, and it's wonderful fun, and it's a lot of good stuff. If you ask people about houses and why they buy houses, they'll tell you, well, I want so many square metres and I want to spend so many dollars and I want to be in this suburb. And if you ask about computers, even non-geeks, but definitely geeks, say they want the highest specs for the best price. That's pretty typical. If you ask the questions the right way, however, this is what you find, is that in a convenience store, in fact, people think that it's delicious in-a-rush meals, easy and no judgment. So it doesn't matter how big you are, if you want to have a Mars bar and a Coke and an ice cream for lunch, no one's going to give you a funny look. And it's also fun and it's appropriate. Now, if you think this is a bit of whack that I made up, we just won an award, the World Research Effectiveness Award, for that first row there, and our client got a 5,200% return on investment halfway through implementing our recommendations. So this idea of unlocking the human truth, $5.2 million incremental sales. If you unlock the human truth of what people really want out of your hotel, it pays dividends. In wine, we found that, in fact,
Everyone, especially wine buffs, find it confusing and intimidating. Too much choice, and a bad choice is a high-risk thing. You lose all your ego, you lose all your bragging rights, and that's why wine buffs are the most intimidated in wine shops, not the least. In houses, the main drivers for buying a house is to make other people jealous. Make yourself feel successful, get your mum and dad off your back for first-time buyers. And fun enough for baby boomers, the freedom to travel. They want to buy a house so they can go away from it. In computers, doesn't matter how geeky you are, and I've got the video, you can come and see it later, the most pimpliest, geekiest, nerdiest person you can imagine makes that TV show, all those guys look like real movie stars. What they do when they look for a computer, they walk up to it, they go, that looks nice, it's really light. Maybe I don't need an i7. Actually, what does an i7 do? And they buy the sexy looking one. So what people say and what people do, two different things. This is why, if you look, and this is a proper research study, the reasons why Apple products are so expensive, translate that to popular. The red bit is because it's an apple. The blue bit is because it's good. Right? That's what you want in your hotel. You want people to stay in your hotel because it's a great hotel, because they love it. Not because of the linen, not because of the toiletries, not because of the air conditioner. Let's talk now about ego boost and bragging rights. This answers guest procurement's rational and emotional needs for maximum occupancy. This is the last graph, the rest of it's all fun. As you go along in any market, you have a look at the left-hand side, I've put occupancy, but it could be profit, it could be frequency, it could be anything. If all you do is talk about price, you get that little bit of growth. Now the next step along, it's a bit like Maslow's hierarchy for those of you who did the psychology at university. The next bit up, if you talk about what it does, what the product does, that is you have a bed, you've got a pillow menu, you get up a little bit higher. If you start talking about your image, little sexy little professional photographs on TripAdvisor, you know, a bit of a better write-up in booking.com, your website gets tarted up like the way we've been talking about, and you go up the next block. That you become an image fighter. The last one to become virtually unassailable is the top orange bar, and you're answering the guest or the procurement officer's question, how does it make me feel? So if you feel really good going somewhere, you're going to talk about it. And when you talk about it, you get your word of mouth. You're going to go back. And that's really the key to it. That's why I put that circle there so I don't forget. Now, going along that hierarchy, you see at the bottom it is what it is and what it does are rational things. The solves my problem is both rational and emotional, but how it makes me feel is completely emotional. So if you're run by a finance person, chances are it's going to be a little bit difficult to get this emotional thing through. There you go. Now this applies to both guests and procurement people, because if you think the procurement people in corporations only care about the price, and the inclusions, and they don't care about being bawled out by 3 or 4 people come back saying it was the worst hotel I ever stayed at, what are you doing? Then you're making a mistake. They have their own emotional buttons. And to prove this is all true, let's look at Apple, because you saw that great red space. This is a poster, I guess you can see this in New Zealand as well. I shot this, I think in Australia. That's for a phone. Does it tell you that it makes phone calls? Does it tell you what its memory is? It tells you that it does all these things? Does it tell you about how you can surf the net, how you can use Tinder, how you can use TripAdvisor? No. It says that with this phone, you can do really nice photographs and all your friends are going to go, whoa, you're so sophisticated and arty and fashionable. And that's why you buy the thing. Look, this is 2 ads from the automobile company, the AA in Australia. And look what these 2 ads are doing. The first one says, where kids become friends again, so wow, you're a great parent. There's no better ego boost than being a great parent. So that's what that ad says. And the same ad, underneath the next picture, is I can be a great parent and kick back and look sexy in my little bathers and all that sort of stuff. So you've got a double ego boost. Their attendance at that property has gone through, or through all their properties, has gone through the roof. This is a real ego boost and bragging rights ad. I could be your grandfather. In fact, I might even be your grandfather.
That's the Harley Davidson. We can laugh because, you know, what sort of bikie, drug addict to push a guy with all sorts of tattoos and piercings and stuff? Why would he care about that? Well, the reason is Harley Davidsons aren't sold to people like that. This is Harley Davidson's marketing manager talking. What we sell is the ability for a 43-year-old accountant to dress in black leather, ride through small towns, and have people be afraid of him. Now laugh, but that's why people buy Harley Davidson. That's why Harley Davidson went from almost Chapter 11, in fact Chapter 11, bankruptcy, to being one of the biggest brands in the world. Because they understood that it's not about the motorbike, it's about the image. And it's not about your hotel, it's about your image. So age-appropriate fun and ego boost and bragging rights. Here's New Balance. They went from almost broke to being the second biggest sneaker seller or shoe sellers in the market. And this is their campaign. No shoes in the ad. You can't even see the damn thing. And you can't see the age of the people. So I look at that bottom photo and I see two people, could be me and my wife, but it could be a 20-year-old. Here are some other people that sell emotion. The top right-hand one is the one I want to focus you on. That's an New Zealand company selling jumpers, woolen jumpers. But really what they're selling is hardcore sex. Because you look at all those pictures and you're not buying a jumper. In fact, you want to take your jumper off. Now, this is real value. So that's how does that work in hospitality? You've got to create a monopoly thing in hospitality. Your goals have to be to dominate the market segment, be the first preference for appropriate domestic travellers, international travellers, procurement owners, and development partners. And you can do all this stuff. All the operational basics are really important, and you have to do them. You have to have graphic designs and check-in and F&B and all that sort of stuff. But they're only table stakes. Remember we talked about that? You don't want to be doing this. You want to be doing your value equation, ego boost, and here are a couple of hotel ads. Top right-hand corner, you are in control. You might have kids, you might be middle-aged, you might be a harassed middle executive, but you can go for a bike ride and you can live the life. The bottom left, the middle one on the left there, that is an attitude. It's comfortable, but if you want to be a successful, powerful businesswoman, possibly verging on being a bit of a bitch, that's the hotel business brand. We talked about the bottom one. Here's one for Disney World. You don't go to Disney World for the rides, you go there because you're going to be an even better grandparent. And finally, Caesars Hotel, if you want the Burma market, this is what you're selling. Now those of you who are under 40 possibly revolted by the prospect of those two people doing what they're probably going to do after the collapse. But there's a lot of them and they do have a lot of sex. And you really want to be understanding it. But the image of Caesars in Atlantic City there, do they talk about the quality of the litters? Do they talk about the casino? Do they talk about the F&B? Do they talk about, no. They're selling the image of what that hotel can do for you. It can revitalise your marriage. This is how Apple do it.
This is it. This is what matters.
This is for a phone, but
The experience of a product.
this is how you sit in the bar.
How
This is how you
amazing
pick
you
from the
feel.
menu. This is what's going to happen in the Australia Hotel.
Does it just need to exist? We spend a lot of time on a few great things until every idea we touch enhances each life it touches. You may rarely look at it, but you'll always feel it. This is our signature, and it means everything.
Alright, so that covered personal emotions that transcend demographics. It encourages talking and sharing. It creates attitudes and feelings. Now your attitudes and feelings and the emotions you have will be different unless you've got a 6-star hotel romantic getaway thing. But the idea that you should be presenting an emotion, a feeling, a sense of a reason for being in the business doesn't change. So your brand mood will be different, but the emotion is still maximising. This is the process we go through to help clients understand that, we understand the market, we identify the core brands and implications, and then we apply the strategy through all aspects: experience, arrival, entrance, occasion, departure, and the brand principles. There you have the three factors. Build perceived quality is more than chocolate on pillow. Generally, ego boost or bragging rights that tap into the guest's ego, and then you can do it in hotels. And if you can do that, you become an unassailable value monopoly, and that is the key to maximising occupancy. And if you want later, here's a little Excel thing I can get for you, which is 50 ways to differentiate your brand using the sorts of principles we're talking about. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan.